guys, Bolts96 here, but the O is a 0, and we are back with the latest episode of one player from each Premier League team who each Premier League team could sign. And in this one, we are looking at Spurs. It's a big one. They need to keep fighting for European football. They could miss out on it. They may just about get it. We don't know, but I think either way, it's going to be a big transfer window. I think they're going to need to make some few recruitments in there and to improve that team and get some of the deadwood out as well. So make sure to stick around to see who I think Spurs could sign in the summer. Arsenal, Brook Norton-Cuffy. I'm starting this with a player who definitely isn't going to bother too many people when I suggest that he join Arsenal's North London rivals. A young fullback who can play either side. He probably wouldn't get too close to the first team, but I needed to pick someone, and he would boost Spurs' options in the fullback positions. Aston Villa, Matty Cash. Spurs currently have options in right back with Porro, Royale and Spence, who is out on loan, but I think Matty Cash is an upgrade on at least two of those, maybe even all three. I really rate the guy, and at 25 years of age, he hasn't even hit his prime. I could see Spurs completing a swap deal on Cash with Villa between Matty Cash and Emerson Royale. Cash would come in probably as second choice to Porro, but I think he could usurp that spot given the chance. Bournemouth, Kiefer Moore. Spurs finally got in an able deputy to Harry Kane in Richarlison, but he isn't a natural striker, and Spurs could do with another option up there in case one or both of them get injured. I've opted for Moore as I have seen him linked with Spurs previously, and I think he would be a decent player to have in the squad. He'd be content with being third choice for Spurs, and he would provide a different type of option while still carrying enough similar characteristics as Harry Kane to make it a bit more of a seamless transition when he is brought in. Brentford, Bryan Mbeumo. Spurs are due to lose a few winger options in Lucas Moura, who will be leaving on a free, and Dan Juma and Kulusevski, who will be leaving to return to their parent clubs, which leaves Spurs needing wing reinforcement. I think Mbeumo is ready to make the step up to a team who traditionally will be in the European spots. He's a very good player who knows how to cause the opposition defence a range of dilemmas. I think he'll be a really good fit at Tottenham. Brighton, Robert Sanchez. Hugo Lloris will be in the last year of his contract, and at 36 years of age, I think it is time for Spurs to look for a replacement. Sanchez is one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League at the moment, and he will be an excellent replacement. He won't come cheap, but Spurs will be looking to replace their captain, who has been their starting goalkeeper for over a decade. They need to make sure they get it right, even if it does cost them a decent sum. Chelsea, Levi Colwill. Firstly, I will note that this transfer is unlikely to happen, but I think it would be a good one if Spurs could pull it off. Colwill has impressed this season when he has played for Brighton, but I think Brighton could be priced out of a transfer for him, whereas Spurs could stump up the cash. They need an injection of quality into their central defence, and I think Colwill could be that. He is still very young and still has a lot of room to improve, but given the time, he could be a starting centre-back for Tottenham. Crystal Palace, Eberechi Eze. Eze is another player like Mbeumo who I think is ready for the step up to a bigger team. Very exciting player who does have a goal output in his repertoire, currently leading the goal scorers list at Palace. He could finally be the first real replacement for Dele Alli if this transfer were to happen. Everton, Amadou Onana. I know Onana only joined in the summer, but if Everton get relegated, he is too good for the Championship and will be bought by another club, if not at the least loaned out. He has been one of the few impressive players for Everton this season. Tall, strong and combative, he is a Premier League midfielder and he would be a good player for this Spurs side. Fulham, Anthony Robinson. Ben Davies is a decent player, but he has now hit 30 and I don't think he has more than a couple of seasons at most left at Spurs. They do have Udogie out on loan, who I think Spurs should get back in and play for next season, but I like the thought of this transfer for Robinson. I think he could replace Davies and will be a good player for Spurs to have available on that side. He probably wouldn't cost an insane amount of money, but with experience behind him, he'd serve them well. Leeds, Joel Robles. Not a very exciting one this, so I'll move through it pretty quickly. I struggled to pick a player who would suit Spurs too well from the Leeds squad, so I've gone for a player who will be on a free in the summer and will be a good third choice option goalkeeper for this Spurs side. Leicester City, James Maddison. Maddison is going to be moving away this summer. He just has to, particularly if Leicester get relegated. Spurs will be an excellent choice for him, and Maddison will be a fantastic player for them. He would slot right into their team, and I could see a very nice partnership with Kane there. Not to mention a link-up play with Son and Richarlison if they were to change to a 4-2-3-1 formation. That would be a very enticing front four and would cause a heap of trouble for opposition teams. Liverpool, Joe Gomez. The way Gomez's career is going really bothers me. A few seasons ago, he was looking like he was going to be England's main centre-back as he formed a ridiculously good partnership with Van Dijk, but he suffered a bad injury which had really curtailed his performances. He's not been the same player and has been dropped in recent time for Konate and Matip. Having said that, he is still a good player, and I think if he was given consistent game time, there is a chance he could pick that back up. Tottenham Hotspur needs some better centre-back options, and even with Gomez's lesser form, I think he still walks into that defence. Liverpool probably won't look to sell him, but if they did, Spurs would be a good move for him. Manchester City, Kyle Walker. Walker is still a ridiculously good defender, but he has been playing less this year for City, and he could be moved on in the summer. Walker will be an improvement on the current right-back options of Spurs, and to return to his previous club, who are still at a level of fighting for European places, would be a good move for him. Yes, he is ageing, but as an impact player for the next season or two, Spurs could go far wrong than getting in Kyle Walker. Manchester United, David De Gea. De Gea's contract is up in the summer, and currently he will be leaving on a free in the summer. If Lloris does leave Spurs, they will need a replacement, and De Gea on a free would be a good choice. Yes, he isn't as good with the ball at his feet, but neither is Lloris. He's still a very good goalkeeper who will walk into most teams. He's on the wrong side of 30, but he has a number of years on Lloris and will do a great job for Spurs. Newcastle United, Callum Wilson. Wilson has been in the form of his life at the minute, and Newcastle probably wouldn't be very keen to let him go, but Spurs could do with more coverage striker, and Wilson would be perfect. He'd probably be relishing the opportunity to play in the Champions League next season with Newcastle if they achieve it, and I'm not sure Spurs would pay top dollar for a second choice striker, but I still think this would be a great move for them. Nottingham Forest, Danilo. Danilo did only just join Forest in January, but if they end up getting relegated, I struggle to see him staying at Forest. He seems to be a talented player, and I would be intrigued to see him play more in the Premier League. If Spurs have a bit of a rejig within their midfield, Danilo could be an exciting choice to bring him in. Southampton, Kyle Walker-Peters. Walker-Peters will be bought by a team in the Premier League next season. He is one of the better defenders in the league outside of the top six. Having played for Spurs previously, he'd be a very good fit for them, I think. He may or may not be first choice right back for them, but he'd be a great pickup and could earn his spot in the starting XI. West Ham, Kurt Zouma. Zouma has always been a very good player. He is definitely good enough to be playing for a team fighting for Europe. Solid, strong, a good passer and a leader. He is the type of defender Spurs need to be getting in. I think Tottenham have quite a weak central defence currently, and Zouma would probably be starting for them. Wolves, Matheus Nunes. Nunes clearly is a talented player and has something about him which would shine in a bigger team. He wouldn't be cheap, but I think Tottenham will be spending money this window, and Nunes would be a wise investment. Energy, speed and an attacking impetus from the midfield, he would suit Spurs rather well and could become a very big player for them. And there we have it, guys. That is who I think Spurs could sign in the summer. If you liked what you watched, please do remember to like, comment and subscribe and let me know what you thought of my picks. Please do also remember to check out some of my other socials. I'm on Twitch, which is where I do all of my streaming of FIFA, and I am on TikTok, Instagram and Twitter, all under the same handle, Bolts96, but the O is 0. I will be putting out another one of these videos next week, and we will be looking at West Ham United now. They've had it tough this season, they've been struggling. Quite a surprise for most, I think. It was for me. So it could be quite an interesting episode to look at who I think they could get in to improve their team and bring back their glory from last season where they're pushing for European places. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you on the next video.